One of the things I have to do for this Wagemaker is restore the steering wheel. So what I did is I took it out, there's a chrome cap you take off, and inside there's like a sheet metal nut almost, and I took that off, and then I just slid it off the steering column shaft, and there's a key that allows you to line that up, and so it doesn't spin when you're driving. So thankfully that came off quite easily compared to some I've had to do. So what I was pleased to find is that the original color of this wheel was kind of like a blue, metallic blue, which is going to go really well, I believe, with the bikini blue on the side of the boat that we're going to use. And then, so before I buy the paint, I have a place I buy that in southern Michigan, I'm going to sand it down to the black substrate. And I'm going to leave a little blue so when I go to that automotive paint place, I can match that up perfectly, and then I'll finish that. So what I'll do is I'll take all this white paint. It looks like the white paint was applied over the blue, probably cracked or something, and so they just made it white, which is fine. So I'm getting through this white, and then I hit the blue, and then there's a primer, I think, between the black and the blue that's kind of like a flesh color. And I'm getting it right down to the black, just getting into the black where it starts to get black dust, and then I stop because I don't want to go much farther than that. Then I'm going to identify the cracks, because there are cracks in this wheel, and you can buy steering wheel compound that allows you to fair a steering wheel. It's heavy duty, gets hard, and it doesn't crack. So it not only looks good, but it accepts paint. And there'll be a steering wheel paint that goes on this. It's a little more durable than topside paint for a boat. So I'm going to keep sanding on this. Take me a couple hours, and then I'll put this away until I get my paint custom made at that shop, and then I'll have it put into spray paint cans, and then I'll be able to spray paint the whole wheel and have that done and ready to go for all the hardware installation that goes on last. Three hours later, I've got the Atwood steering wheel all cleaned up. I used 80 grit, just gently worked on it until I got everything cleaned up. I left a little paint chip right there. When I take it to the automotive paint store, I can get a nice match. And then I've got the other stuff all labeled and taped. And then what I'm going to do, I'll spend a little time polishing this aluminum. Go ahead and get that ready to go. And there's a few other pieces of aluminum I'll do at the same time. I have a wheel grinder that I can do that, and get that nice and cleaned up. Now that I have the steering wheel sanded with 80 grit, as recommended by the company that makes the filler that I'm going to use, it's just on a few cracks that I have found, and I'm sure that when I clean it and maybe even prime it, I'll find more. So this is just going and getting the first set of cracks that I find. It's just like the boat. You're always going to find more flaws as the shinier surface and the finer it gets, and you just keep sanding and fixing as you go, and then you have a pretty good looking package. So this was made by Evercoat. It's a popular marine type Bondo for steering wheels. I've used Evercoat on boats themselves, and this is their steering wheel two-part, and it comes in two different tubes, equally mixed. You have, a compound that is gray, I believe, in my memory, and I mix it on my mixing board, and then I'm just going to go ahead and apply. After I clean it with alcohol, I'm going to apply into the areas that I see that have cracks or divots that I couldn't sand out, or if I did sand out, would be make a depression in the wheel, and I don't want to do that. It took me a few minutes, and like I said, I only had a few cracks. It's not unusual for this to be where they crack. Right where the cross piece connects to the hub and where it connects to the wheel are the high stress points. This is a steel cord wheel, and then it's covered in a plastic. And that's flexible to a point, and that's probably it. With age, they get harder, and then, you know, the stress is usually here and there. It's because that's the connection in the weld underneath where the steel is. And this plastic cover is bound to crack with stress. I mean, cars do it too. I think boats probably have more of a tendency because there's more strain via the cable steering system and not power steering, and some better mechanics in automobiles. So this is pretty normal. I did find one back here on the, you know, where your fingers mold. But again, that's probably close enough to a stress point where that's what happened. So what I'll do is I let that sit. I think it said 15 minutes. I'll let it sit longer than that. And then I will go back and sand that fair. And just like with the boat hull, I will keep fairing it until it's smooth. And then a couple of weeks I'll get the paint from the automotive place I buy my steering wheel paint from, and it'll be done in a kind of a medium blue metallic. That's what I found underneath. That's why I left that little swatch there, and I'll take it there and I'll get a little, get a couple cans that I can go ahead. And then what I do is I prime it, several coats of the blue, and then I clear coat it so it will protect the color, but also the wear and tear of hands on the wheel. So it'll always look really nice and shiny. And then if you ever have to go back, the clear coat will help protect that paint underneath, and you can just re-clear coat it again. And then inside the cap, I'm having sent to do chrome. It's got enough rust on it where I want it to get chromed and fixed up, so that'll look really nice. And then when I do the paint, the blue will go back down into the Atwood brand name, and that'll be blue as well. So the whole thing will be blue. So that's how I do that. This is my paint tent that I built. I used to have something built out of cardboard in my other shop, but with a larger shop and having the time, decided to build a freestanding version that is right next to my ventilating fan for the barn, which clears this space in 1 hour's time. So it's enough to really move some air. And I set it on low, and I had an old chair frame that I used for my rack, and then just a simple clothes hanger through the hub. So it's not touching anything that is painted. It's going to be where the shaft of the steering gear go. And I have just a regular house filter that draws the air, but also protects the fan itself from getting paint on it. And I have, you know, this three-sided four with the ceiling booth, and it draws the air back and down. I have a vent in the back that's a 1-foot vent that's kind of like a car spray tent. It goes back and down, which is away from your work, is what you want. And I'm in here with my spray can, and I can twist it a little bit. I'm going to probably put some sort of apparatus in there that I can have on a swivel, so I can just move the wheel without having to pick it up at all, just kind of move it around. But this worked real well today. So what I did is I sprayed the wheel, and like anything, primer and otherwise, there's a few areas that could use a little more sanding that the paint brought out. And I didn't have any primer. The automotive place that mixed this special color for me said just go ahead and spray it and then look for your imperfections and then just remedy them with some 320 and then just overcoat. So I have Bondo. I thought I had all of it, but like anything, until you really put paint on it, you can't see it. So I'm gonna get this light coat on there. It's a complete coverage, but now I can see my imperfections. I'm gonna let that dry Then I'm going to go back in there with a little bit of 320 and get that smoothed out. And then I'll finish up with some more of this custom-made blue, which matches the paint that was on the wheel originally. And then I have a really nice clear coat that's going to go over this blue pearl and really make it smooth and shiny. So I'll show that piece when I get to it. Well, here is the restored steering wheel reveal. I did several coats of the blue flake paint and sanded and painted, and finished up with I think 3 cans, spray cans of the blue, custom made, and then I finished it off with several coats of clear coat. And then this beautiful chrome button will go in the middle centerpiece. That'll really look nice when this is on the boat, along with all the new chrome and the new restored motor from 1955 and the bikini blue on the side. This is going to be a really nice piece to see on the boat. So I'll count this job as done. Well, I think that'll look really nice when I'm done. That's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you for tuning in to Reynolds Runabouts. If you're enjoying the video series, which is coming to a close on this boat anyways, thankfully, for the owner, and so I can move on to another boat. If you're enjoying the series, please hit the subscription button. And if you're enjoying it to the point where you'd like to hit the like button, great. I always like to receive the like thumbs up, good positive reinforcement for me. And if you have any questions, please post those down below and I'll try to answer them the best I can, or maybe you've got even a good suggestion that I can use in the shop. Always well appreciated. So until 2 weeks from today, take care.